And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land, part of the Collectin' and Connectin', a good vibes community. I am Ethan Greenberg, and joining me this evening is my good buddy, Drew Hagenbaugh, my co-hostess with the mostest from the Let's Go Crunch podcast and many others. And we are hoping to have our good buddy, Mike, from across the pond joining us here. We were having some technical issues beforehand, so hopefully he'll be joining in. We may also be joined in a little while from my other good buddy, Tailgate Nate29, Nate Bope, who I am glad to be a part of his podcast, The Prospects of the Land, talking Guardians baseball on the Baseball Banter Network. Drew, what's up? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
I have been doing well. I mean, long time no talk since, I don't know, Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a few days.
It's been a few days. And you know what the good news is? You came on with me a few weeks back. We had some technical issues. And I think we got it fixed.
I think so. We both sound great. There's no echo. There's no problems. We're doing good.
We are doing good. So unfortunately right now, folks, I know we really were and did plan on Mike from the UK. We're trying to get him on, and hopefully we can get the internet issues worked out here. We're dealing with lots of technical issues. Maybe he's got Verizon. Didn't Verizon, weren't people complaining about them yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Verizon's awful.
Oh, I have Verizon. I don't know what the problem is here. Why are we hating on Verizon?
I mean, I do too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they're good. They got a lot of stuff going on there. Drew, besides the Let's Go Crunch podcast, where else can we find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Hagenbaugh Drew on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And I have another podcast that I do called the Just BSing podcast with my buddy Zach. So we've been pumping episodes every Friday for that show, but he's going on vacation next week, so we're not gonna do a show next week. But you can find me there, Just BSing podcast, and my socials on Twitter at Drew or at Hagenbaugh Drew.
All right, fair enough. That works good. You're going to tell him get out of his vacation, get off the beach. Let's go. Let's do it. There's no time for vacationing when you are a Cleveland sports fan. There is always something going on. So I thought that we would start off this evening with obviously kind of the biggest news going on: the Cleveland Browns and the Dog Pound. Which is just a never-ending disaster. And first, though, let's hear a word. This is a clip here from between a small exchange posted by Cleveland Browns social media between Andrew Siciliano and Andrew Berry, the general manager. This is part of the Bark Tank podcast. Let's take a listen here for just a moment at our faithful leader, Andrew Berry.
What would Andrew Berry's message to the fans be?
My message to the fans is we know how difficult this year has been, and we appreciate the loyalty, the passion, the commitment to the team, regardless of what we're going through. And that's something we will never take for granted. My commitment to you all is to make sure that we find the right leader and build the right roster that allows us to have perennial success.
All right. Yeah, that was the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced, Drew. Color me shocked here. I'm not convinced by what Andrew Berry has to say.
No, I'm not either. Like, all I heard were lie after lie after lie.
Exactly. Yes. Let's go. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go.
Spurs.
Let's go. All right. Well, we'll get into the soccer talk on Sunday. But yeah, I listen to Andrew Berry. And I find it difficult to believe a word he says or to have any faith in him. I don't have the confidence. I'm sorry. I think that Sands, he had one good draft. And I'm hearing people that are talking about and saying he should have been fired, not Stefanski. Let me just start with that. Let me ask you that question. What do you think about the sentiment that it should have been Berry, not Stefanski, that got fired?
I mean, I'm kind of with it because you can't tell me that Kevin Stefanski is the
Wait, what is this? This is a Cleveland All right, great. Go Spurs. Yeah. Okay.
Fresh Wemby fan. Wow. But yeah,
That works.
I can't fathom people defending a guy who has had 5 out of 6 failed drafts. And everything has been blamed on the coach. And I mean, we've heard it all throughout the years where something will go wrong and they're just like, well, just ask Kevin Stefanski. It's like, well, why are you putting Kevin Stefanski in this mess? Like, it's not his fault that, like, he's not the one who signed Deshaun Watson. He's not the one who signed Jerry Judy. He's not the one who's done all this stuff. He's not the one who drafted Greg Newsome. He's not the one who drafted Greedy Williams. Like, he's not the one who's drafting these players. Like, you can't just put everything on the head coach and just get away with it, which, I mean, he's done so, apparently, because he's still here. But he should have been the one that's been fired, and Stefanski should have been the one that kind of stayed, because I don't think Stefanski is that bad of a coach in my eyes.
So, yeah, I think that it's one of those situations where ultimately he has his flaws, right?
Oh,
and
for
thank
sure.
you, French Wemby fan. Yes, but it did make, it's okay. No need to say my bad. I think this is good because you fooled us. We were talking, come on, you Spurs. We're talking soccer, but but that worked. It worked in the conversation, guys. And thank you everybody to tuning in. Yes, happy Thursday. What's up, everyone? Of course. I think he has his flaws.
Yeah.
And he has his problems. It's almost as if this situation where at a certain point the voice is no longer effective. And nothing he could do was going to go right. I wish him the best elsewhere. I am not sure how it's going to go elsewhere, but I do wish him the absolute best elsewhere. Hopefully something works for him. I kind of see we're going to get into the coaching carousel here in just a minute. So now technically there are 8 vacancies because today apparently I think have they finalized the details with Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh in New York for the Giants or not?
I think they're getting finalized now. So I think they're hoping to get them by tomorrow, or everything finalized by tomorrow, I'm assuming, or at least by Monday.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we'll have Mike on from the UK in a few minutes. He's trying another device, so we'll go with that. But I think when that news came in about John Harbaugh, this is what they said.
Time for some changes.
This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
So I think they just had to cross him off our list, and that's just sad because I was really hoping maybe we'd had a chance for it. When are we going to talk about basketball? Well, let me tell you. So the good question. We try and be flexible here and go with the flow. When are we going to talk about basketball? All right, we're going to talk about basketball in just a little bit. And basically the premise is going to be the Cavs stink. Okay. They are a mash unit. Darius Garland needs to get some steel-toed boots instead of those crappy New Balances he's wearing. I don't know what happens to that guy. How is it that a person can get injured so often? How is it that we can have so many soft tissue injuries? Are you kidding me? These guys are soft. Sorry. Yeah. Sam Merrill, what are you doing out there? Dean Wade, give me a break. This is ridiculous. So we're going to get to the Cavs and how much they stink momentarily. So please stay tuned. But we are going to have lots of discussion about here the NFL. And then my Wemby fan, we'll talk about how much the Cavs stink and in the landscape of the NBA, of course. So Drew, in the coaching carousel, as it were, apparently we can now cross John Harbaugh off the list. And how shocked were you this week that Mike Tomlin stepped aside?
I mean, it was a shock because, to be honest, for me personally, and this is my thought process, whoever lost that game in Baltimore, whether it's the Steelers or whether it was the Steelers or whoever lost that game, I truly believe that coach was going to get fired. So if the Steelers lost, Tomlin was gone. And if the Ravens lost, well, which they did, then Harbaugh is gone. So I truly believe whoever lost that game, their coach was going to get fired. And if you lost the playoff game, the coach was going to step away or get fired. So either way, I thought both were going to get let go. And it was just a matter of time. I mean, both coaches, 18 years in the league. kind of about similar amount of success. I mean, they're very similar. Same amount of success, same amount of like playoff appearances, same years, whatnot. I mean, I just truly believe that they were both just destined to be going somewhere else in the offseason.
Yeah, Mike. Hey, welcome back. Did we manage to find a good working internet and device there over across the pond, sir?
I hope so. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. We can absolutely hear you. Thank you so much for hopping back on. Always glad. Everybody who's watching, this guy, Mike, he is the man. You might know him better as @Mike_Cavs_UK. He is always in the chat for all of the podcasts. He follows along in all the Cleveland sports, all the Columbus sports, the Ohio State Buckeyes. He is a super fan of super fans, and he is a fellow Spurs fan, but not the San Antonio Spurs. We had this discussion a little earlier, the Tottenham Hotspurs. So the three of us, unlikely characters here.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
It is very fortunate. How many hours of sleep are you getting a night, Mike?
It varies night on night, to be honest. Sometimes 5 or 6, sometimes 7, sometimes not much.
Can you believe that you are wasting your time and energy to follow Cleveland sports? Is that just, do you ever sit back and say, gosh, and what am I doing with my life?
Sometimes I sit there and think, what did I choose this for? Like, why did I get invested in it? Sometimes I do, yeah.
It's kind of like to say what Tottenham Hotspur did. Is like, why do I invest time in this team? Like, why do I even spend time watching this team?
It's absolutely ludicrous. All right, so thank you so much for hopping back on. So we're talking about the coaching vacancies in the NFL. And, I mean, Mike, to you, which of the coaching vacancies was your biggest surprise? I'd say mine was either the Ravens or the Steelers, but I think the Steelers was kind of the biggest surprise. It seemed like it was mostly a fan. The fans wanted him out, but the Rooneys and everybody, they seemed happy with him. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by Mike Tomlin, to be honest, because they've been through 6 different quarterbacks in the last few years, and none of them have worked.
What, you didn't like Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges?
Or Kenny Pickett, or Mick Trubisky, or Russell Wilson.
But you did like Justin Fields. They just couldn't score any touchdowns with him on the field, right?
Well, he's gone to the Jets and it's been rubbish as well, so...
Yeah, oh boy, they have really. Go ahead, Mike.
But we've discussed this before. Like, Pittsburgh has a massive issue because they're kind of in the middle range. Like, they're not bad enough to like get a top pick, but then they're not good enough to win a playoff game. So they're kind of just stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of a darn if you do, darn if you don't type of thing. And for them, I mean, we talked about it on a prior podcast when we went through possible quarterbacks that the Browns could have had. And one of them was Ben Roethlisberger. The Browns could have had him. Imagine if the Browns had selected Big Ben and he hadn't fallen to the Steelers. Could they have been wandering the quarterback desert still all that time, or would they have lucked out at some point?
They probably would have lucked out, probably with Mahomes a few years ago, maybe.
that is the Steelers' general luck there. I mean, Big Ben retires, and they've tried a rookie like Kenny Pickett, who was just ridiculous. They've tried veterans a la Russell Wilson, Mitch Trubisky. They've had Mason Rudolph there forever as a longtime backup. They have Aaron Rodgers this past season. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is coming back next season, guys? Drew, what do you think?
No, I think he's done. I mean, you're what, 42 years old now? Like, it's time to hang it up. Especially too because you don't know who the head coach is. There's going to be changes in Pittsburgh. Like, is it going to really fit your system? Is it going to fit the way you play? You have no receivers really besides DK, and he's been in and out with injuries. Like, do you stick around for that? Do you try to go somewhere else? I think you just hang it up at this point.
He could pull a Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? You think Aaron Rodgers is going to go on an ayahuasca retreat?
Well, if I was him, there's one reason why I'd think about it, and that's because he doesn't want to be known as his last pass in the NFL being a pick six in a playoff game.
That's true.
That is true. Maybe he should come out and play like one play or throw like a touchdown and be like, "Oh, my elbow, my elbow."
He can pull the Antonio Brown, take off all of his stuff, throw it into the crowd, and run off. That's how I would go out.
Yeah, seems like a fair plan. And what do you
So
guys
another
think?
repeat of day one when he was on the Jets.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. The caveat here is that Mike Tomlin stepped down versus being relieved of his duties. And that makes it a little bit more complicated in that it points to all signs point to him not coaching this upcoming season, because if he does want to coach, someone wants him to come in, they are going to have to trade for him. They're going to have to give up some kind of draft capital to get him. And sorry, I'll just wait you out a year. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Knowing the Browns' luck would give him like a third or fourth round pick, and it would turn out to be like the best player they've ever drafted in like the last 5 years. They'd find a new franchise quarterback, their new D lineman, something like that.
Well, right. I think on ESPN Cleveland, Aaron Goldhammer was proposing, would you give up the 6th pick for Mike Tomlin as the head coach? And they were just having this ridiculous discussion. And I was like, are you kidding me? All right, not that high of a pick. I'd give up I don't know. Okay, this begs the question, guys. Let's talk about these coaches. I want to know, would you rather have X coach or a bag of soggy potato chips? We are going to talk about this because, quite frankly, you got to imagine a bag of soggy potato chips is terrible. Who wants a bag of soggy potato chips? But some of these coaches are so bad, I, in fact, would rather have a bag of soggy potato chips versus said coach, just as much as I would like to have a bag of soggy potato chips rather than Dylan Gabriel or Deshaun Watson for that matter. With that in mind, I guess of the coaches, so first, I guess let's go through the list, and I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. If someone was on the outside looking in, do you think that they would want Kevin Stefanski as their coach, or would they rather have a bag of soggy potato chips if he were going to land anywhere as a head coach rather than said bag of soggy potato chips? Where do you think he'd like to go, Mike?
So I lost you guys there. What were you saying? Sorry, my
no, that's okay. That's okay.
Being a bit funny.
All right.
Sometimes you're a bit delayed. What was you saying? Sorry.
I was wondering, if somebody were looking at the options of a coach versus a bag of soggy potato chips, and they were thinking about Kevin Stefanski, which team would rather have him, and which fan base would rather have him than the bag of soggy potato chips?
Well, I personally think Stefanski is going to end up in Tennessee with the Titans, personally, with Cam Wood, because if we go back a year during the draft process, if the Browns had had the top pick rather than the second pick before they down, it fit.
Okay, yeah. I could see Tennessee. Drew, what do you think? Which situation do you think? Would you agree that maybe Tennessee, if anybody, might end up with him again? John Harbaugh is no longer available, and as such, we are going to have to take care of him on our big board.
For some changes.
This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
Yeah, they're going to have to cross him off. So, Drew, what do you think?
I mean, for me, it was always between either Tennessee or Atlanta for Stefanski. Because at this point, I don't think anyone's going to touch the Raiders right now.
Oh my God, the Raiders. That is an. I'm sorry. Now they're attractive for one reason: the number one pick. Other than that, I don't know what else is going to really bring you there. That does make it an attractive, definitely attractive job.
Extreme gambling if you lose.
Can we bet on some what is it, rooster fighting? I hear it's legal in the Dominican.
Yeah, I think we got a contact for that, by the way.
We do. You do. He comes out to what, fireman, or something like that.
Yeah, the fireman. Yeah,
I think he does. And he's got another buddy, Luis Ortiz. Yeah, that guy too. Mike, did you see that? Did you see that news about the rooster fighting?
No, what is it?
There is documentation or post talking about I think from a deposition, maybe in August sometime, and whomever they were, this is in the Emmanuel Clase case, and they're talking to him, and he says, "No, we never talked about his pitching. We talked about rooster fighting. I never bet on baseball. We talked about rooster fighting." So, I think we need to should we do a whole podcast dedicated to rooster fighting?
Actually, now you've said this, I do actually remember this coming up and when I read the court case for Ortiz and Class A. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should definitely.
But those are two guys I don't really want to be remembering about right now.
Would you rather have said bag of soggy potato chips than Emmanuel Clase or Luis Ortiz? I think you would.
1,000%.
Well, a soggy bag of chips can't match fix, I guess, or cost your team losses. They can just.
It might give you violent bathroom issues. I'm not sure. I'm not positive though.
Go, I guess.
Exactly. All right. So far, the Browns have had, the big names, I guess, that were being discussed. I'd say, you were talking about Harbaugh. He is off. Oh, hey, we've got another guest jumping in here. Let's pop him on right quick as we bust into this. It is the man. It is Tailgate Nate.
We made it.
Thank you for joining us, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here
for sure
with us this evening. Glad you could join the party, as it were. Okay, we just lost Mike. Great. Good. No, not wonderful. Hopefully he will pop back on. Nate, we were just talking about all the coaching carousel in the NFL and whatnot. Nate, tell everybody where you can be found.
Sure. So I do a bunch of stuff in the sports media realm. If you like college football, I'm going to be live reacting to the national championship. That's on my YouTube channel, Tailgate Nate. Tune in to that. Otherwise, at Tailgate Nate 29. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Stay up to date with YouTube stuff. Tune into shows like this, as well as my baseball podcast, Prospects of the Land, with the Baseball Banter broadcast, and everything else I do in the sports media realm. I work at a local radio station, cover a bunch of high school sports, have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yes, you do this very good job on that baseball banter broadcast, the Prospects of the Land.
Yeah, just a little show.
It's just a little show, kind of like that. I mean, we were just. Hey, did you read about Emmanuel Clase and the the rooster fighting?
I did, and I wish I had it. That is about 20 minutes of my life spent wasted.
Where is this like the Seinfeld episode? Where's little Jerry? Little Jerry, I get it. Get Kramer coming running in. It'll be fantastic there. All right. So, Nate, as we were jumping in, we were talking about the coaching carousel, the coaching vacancies. We already crossed Harbaugh off the list. They said this guy's dead, and they said just, well, then cross him off then. So we did. We crossed him off just to make sure that nobody, thought he was still a candidate. As we look at the Browns situation, want to talk about who are like top candidates are for the job. I'll give you my three. Well, now it's really two. I was initially, as I was preparing, I was thinking John Harbaugh would be a great candidate, given his track record of success, his familiarity with the AFC North, his ability to coach all areas and aspects of the team. Really liked him, but that's okay. Moving on. So then next in line, I really would go. I think I'd stay in house. I'm gonna go. I would say Jim Schwartz. I know. I mean, he had a okay coaching gig in Detroit. He's been around a long time. He's got the respect of the team. The defense has been very, very good. They've been very solid. There have been moments you question them. Maybe they're dancing a little bit too much, but I do like him. And after that, I was thinking about, I've kind of gotten sold on Grant Udinski. Udinski is or has been the offensive coordinator down in Jacksonville for the Jaguars. You look at what they've done this season. What a turnaround. Trevor Lawrence looked like he was on his way to being a bust, and they did very well. He apparently is sought after, and he's getting a lot of there's a lot of smoke. So those, I guess I'd have to come up with a third at this point. But let's go around here. Drew, who are your? Do you have a top three for the Brown on the coaching wish list?
Well, I do have the same two as you and Jim Schwartz and Udinski, because obviously, if you want to go in house, you'd go Jim Schwartz. And then I do like how Udinski ran his Jags offense. You know, he's young. He made Trevor Lawrence look really, really good this year, and Jacksonville's offense was flying on all cylinders. Plus, I heard this on another show, but I wouldn't mind maybe trying to go after Brian Thomas Jr. to help up that wide receiver room. So maybe bring in Udinski and, you know, a pretty solid wide receiver. And then the third is tough. I've been leaning a lot more on maybe Joe Brady, because again, the work he's done in Buffalo with Josh Allen and all that, I think he could be a top tier candidate for Cleveland as well.
Okay, Nate, what about you? What's your top three?
So I mean, I agree with those two. I obviously like what Udinski has done in Jacksonville, and I always felt like he's been a really good offensive mind. There are two ways that you can go for me for a Browns head coach. What I want as the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns is a young offensive mind. Or if you can't get young, get an offensive mind, period. Which is weird because normally when you're switching back and forth between head coaches, the pendulum swings. We just came off an offensive mind. We should be looking for a defensive coach, but we don't need that. Now, if you want to go the Jim Schwartz route, over the moon. I'm sold. That one's easy. But I was also on the Todd Monken train. He's more of an offensive coaching regime. However, it does look pretty likely that he's going to go over to New York to be Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator. I don't like Dan Pitcher. I don't want Tommy Reese. I don't want those guys. It would be really nice to have Clint Kubiak, but that's just an unrealistic expectation for getting into this Browns organization. So some of the other names that you could throw out there, I do like some of these DCs. If for some reason Jim Schwartz is not the guy, I mean, they've interviewed Aiden Dirty, who is the Seahawks defensive coordinator. They have requested an interview with Jesse Minter, even though I don't think they're going to get it. And they've requested an interview with Chris Shula. They might get that. So I think there are a bunch of different options that the Browns could go with here. And either way, you're going to have to take a swing with someone. The way that you play it safe with this Browns coaching search is you go with Jim Schwartz. That's the safe option. He's been in the organization. He's going to keep this defense alive. Safe option. You're going to have to take a risk at some point because you can't have another bridge coach, right? Like I think if we go and hire Mike McDaniel, who we've already interviewed, that's a bridge guy. Okay. I like Mike McDaniel, but I don't want him around this organization with the defense that we've got. And with as much, this is weird to say, but it's true, promising young talent that is on this team. So I think we need to go with
Nate, you don't want him giving them alcoholic beverages on the plane and getting them suspended?
I just don't want the weirdness that is Mike McDaniel. He just doesn't, beyond anything else, he doesn't fit He just
I heard
doesn't
it. Yeah. Well,
fit
no.
in
You know what
Cleveland.
else doesn't fit? You know what else doesn't fit, Nate? His pants. He shops at Gap Kids. He also can't grow a beard. So I got issues with that. I mean, in fact, I'm seeing this great graphic here. Let me see if I can share this. Mike, thank you for. Glad you're back on. Talk to me. Who are your top 3 potential coaching candidates for the head coaching position of the Browns?
So my number one guy, you guys might not like this. I know Andrew does, but it's Grant Udinski from the Jacksonville
Yep.
Jaguars.
Yep. We're all on that. We're all
we're
on
all
the
aboard.
Udinski train.
It's a young mind. He's been, I believe, 3 different NFL teams in the last 2 or 3 years or something like that, including making Sam Darnold a Pro Bowl in Minnesota. I believe he was at the Rams as well, if I remember correctly, at some point.
I have him. Yeah, he was. He was with the Panthers as an assistant. He was with the Vikings for 3 seasons, and then he was just spent the most recent with the Jaguars as the offensive coordinator. Everyone is talking him up. I kind of like him. I love what he's doing. All right, who else you got, bud?
So on top of that, Trevor Lawrence actually had his best ever NFL season last season, just over 4,000 yards and 38 total touchdowns under his guidance. So obviously he's brought the best out of Trevor Lawrence.
Right. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, I don't want.
No. Now, would you but here's the question. Would you rather have Mike McDaniel or a bag of soggy potato chips?
I would rather have Kevin Stefanski back, to be honest, rather than Mike McDaniel. I wouldn't mind McDaniel as an OC.
Okay.
If they decide to stick with Jim Swartz, for example. But as a main leader in the dressing room, locker room, I don't think he's the right guy for that, because if you remember the incident that happened around when the Browns played the Dolphins with Tua.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, what was the incident you're saying? I mean, something
happened in the media. I can't remember exactly what it was, and he didn't hold players accountable or something. And I feel like the Browns need accountability in the locker room. So Mike McDaniels doesn't really fill the bill for me for that. So.
Right. I think that there were problems there, and we don't need a problem locker room.
Exactly.
And Nate, you mentioned a bridge coach. I don't want another Rob Chudzinski. I don't need another Chud here. All right. So wait a second. Now sorry, Mike, we have a very important question here. What are the salary demands for the bag of soggy potato chips? Well, they've asked for an air fryer to crisp back up. Is really their main request. They like to be kettle style. Good question. All right, go ahead, Mike. Tell me about the other candidates. So we've got Udinski on your list. Who else do you have on your list?
I have Pitcher, but I don't know too much about him apart from he's the second man in Cincinnati.
All right.
I was a fan of Joe Brady, but I don't really know where they're going to go because of how the Bills have been on and off the last half of the season offensively.
Yeah, that's fair. That is very fair. I think that, the commentary on Joe Brady, and I've started thinking about it. I'm like, is how effective is he in the offensive game plan in Buffalo relative to how much of it is simply Josh Allen? I don't know. What do you guys think about that, aspect of it? Do you give more credit to Josh Allen, or do you think Joe Brady does something for them? I mean, you knew that they got rid of Ken Dorsey, and we were so kind as to take him off their hands. And as well as his tablet, his Microsoft Surface tablet, which he, smashed and was throwing around like a tantrum, throwing a tantrum there. But I don't know. Are we convinced that Joe Brady is going to be a good candidate? Drew, Nate, anybody jump in?
I feel like he's more of a middle of the road candidate. It's just I guess you could kind of call it Chud hire if you want to, like a 1 year kind of just feel it out, see, or a bridge hire. But it's a young offensive guy. Maybe you test the waters, maybe you don't. But again, there's other better options. Again, there's Udinski, who I think everyone would rather have. I even said on my old other podcast, I wouldn't even mind trying out that Nate Shahasi kid
Oh,
The
Shield,
pass game
no. All right,
coordinators.
wait, timeout. We're gonna have to. I'm calling foul here. I'm throwing the flag. I'm throwing the flag, Drew. It's Nate Shieldhouse. He was a quarterback for Illinois. Come on, guys. Nate Shieldhouse. I can't remember.
Is he on the Rams?
Yeah, he's the Rams pass game specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was terrible at Illinois. I don't need him. Thanks. I'd rather have the bag of soggy potato chips. Thank you. Quite thank you. Nate, what do you think? Would you have, soggy potato chips or Nate Shieldhouse?
Well, I'll directly answer the question by saying the salary demands are around $3 to $5. That's the average price of a bag of potato chips in the United States right now. So there's your salary demand. But to close out my thoughts about the Browns coaching search, what I will say is this. I don't think there is any one candidate besides John Harbaugh, who just went and got hired, that the Browns could pull into this organization and everybody pitch the ball up in the air and knock it over the fence. I don't think there's any other candidate that's going to do that for this organization. However, what I will say is if the Browns reach a little bit, I'm going to be okay with it because they took a swing, right? I'd rather go down swinging than stare at strike three.
John Kenzie Noel?
The Browns, wow, full circle. The Browns quite literally just need to take a swing. And if it takes
Deshaun
a
Watson?
swing, we're not talking about a Deshaun Watson situation. That was swinging at, an intentional walk pitch back in the day. Okay, you can't do that.
No, that's John Kenzie Noel swinging at a curveball.
Well, if the Browns take a bigger risk than what us as fans perceive it to be, like Schwartz is a safe hire. I think, we go out there and say, hey, they're going to be coaches that are good hires, like Udinsky or some of these other offensive coordinators. If we somehow pull Clint Kubiak, which isn't happening, but you got to leave the possibility open. I will be more forgiving to this organization if they take a big swing and it doesn't hit. Now, if they play it safe with Jim Schwartz and it doesn't hit, I still am going to be forgiving because I like Jim Schwartz. However, I'd be a little less forgiving because instead of trying to take a swing and pull a young guy in to the organization, you went with the for sure thing, quote unquote, and maybe the for sure thing was not a sure. So with the Browns position, it's a really weird one to be in because you got all this young talent. You want to do right by them. You need to advance them to the next level. But I was listening to the show before I hopped on here. The problem with teams like Pittsburgh and Minnesota is much like Drew was talking about. They're in mid-hell. They are literally in their mid-life crisis. They just can't get out of that range. That is the worst position to be in if you continue to be there. Now, let's say the Browns next year go 7-10, the year after 8-9, and they're just barely missing the postseason. That's okay as long as they don't stay there because it's the worst position to be in.
Exactly. All right, good deal. Mike, I want to just turn back to you. Any final thoughts on that? Anything else you want to add there?
So what about any defensive minds like Jesse Minter, Brian Flores, who was it, the Rams DC we've been in?
Chris Shula.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my thought on that, guys. If we're going to go defense, I'd rather just stick with Jim Schwartz. We've already got
That's kind of where I'm leaning, to be honest.
I fully agree. If you're going to go defense, you might very well have the best defensive mind in the NFL in the room. So it'd be stupid to outsource a defensive mind. If you're going to outsource, it has to be offensive. That's also where I won't be forgiving.
It would be very offensive. It'll be very offensive. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because my thing too is I feel like you bring in a DC and they're just going to clash heads. Like if you brought in Brian Flores, I could see them kind of butting heads of I want my defense or I want my type of defense. And it's going to be a little too hectic. I don't want.
Well, I think Schwartz would be gonzo. If they bring in a defensive guy, Schwartz is probably gone.
That's my thought too.
He's going to be gone. Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
But do we think there's any chance that Jim Schwartz gets offered another head coach job somewhere else by maybe Baltimore, where he's already interviewed, or somewhere? Or do you think that's kind of out of the question?
He'd be in DC somewhere else. I would assume.
Yeah, I think if he's going to, I think Baltimore. Mike, you and I talked about this a little bit. I
think Jesse Miller's
Baltimore.
going to go there.
I think they wanted to have him come for an interview just to kind of put the rabbit
Push.
ears up on the Browns and make them think, oh, crap, we better hire him. We better hire him because if not, he's going to go there. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh!
Force us into a rushed decision that we regret in a year's time. That's probably
Yeah.
what their tactic is, probably, yeah.
Exactly. And I will also say, I have this on my list where I would, in fact, take that bag of soggy potato chips instead of Cliff Kingsbury.
I've got another one. What about Jonathan Gannon from the Cardinals?
Oh,
who's
my
now
God.
going to Washington for the coaching job?
I dip the soggy potato chips in ketchup and eat it rather than have that.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, they wouldn't be crisps anymore. They'd be soggies.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my gosh. Guys.
What about Brian Shanahan?
Oh, no. Wait a second. Wait, which one? Who? Which Shanahan?
The younger one.
Brian.
Brian.
Who's he with? Who's he with now?
He was on the Titans, but then he got fired middle of the season, if I remember correctly.
Oh, you're not mean Callahan, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant, Callahan.
Oh, okay,
sorry.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I want Bill Callahan. Get Bill Callahan back in the building because we need to rebuild this offensive
line.
Did
I say Shanahan?
You did.
I didn't mean. Yeah, I mean.
There was a Freudian slip or some kind of a slip there. Guys,
I'll take Kyle Shanahan back tomorrow if we had the opportunity.
Well, if that's
the 49ers decide to fire him for some dumb reason because he's like the top 5 head coach in the NFL. But.
Right. Now, we talked a little bit about it, but now, Nate, you've mentioned this a couple times. You don't think Clint Kubiak is a possibility, right?
No, because I see him getting one of these more quote-unquote high-profile jobs. What I will say about the Cleveland head coaching position is I do not think, taking the history of the organization and shoving it under the rug, right? Let's look at what the team is in a vacuum. Before the season, I said 5 wins, and that's what they got. And I think that is a promising result for this team. Maybe not in the way that they got it, but I think you have to look at the record for what it is, and it's 5-12. It's a lot better than 3-14 or 2-15, or what some people may perceive a Browns organization to go year in and year out. There's a lot of young talent here on this team. It's what's saving Andrew Berry's job, to the agreements of some, to the dismay of others. It doesn't matter. This past draft worked well. Swess is going to be a beast in the linebacker room, especially if you compare him with JOK coming back healthy next year. Long shot, but it's still a possibility. Judkins will get back healthy. You got, I believe, some other truly good young pieces. You can run a 2 tight end system now with Harold Fannin, get Njoku more involved in the offense, loving football again. This is a Browns team that I think is well set for the future, at least more so than people may think.
I tend to agree. And for all the people that crap on the Browns, which is easy to do, I think we're all right. In fact, if I look, I guess I'll pose this. I'm going to throw this question out there. In the AFC North, Mike, go ahead. What, you got something?
So I was just wondering, because were you listening to ESPN Cleveland today and Jake Trotter talking about the draft?
I was listening to him talk about the draft. What's your question, sir?
Would you guys be against going best player available in the first round and actually going with defense? Because they were talking about Avil Reese and Caleb Downs, and if they're available at 6, would you make the Browns defense even better and then go offense with like the Jags pick? Or are we just better off trading down if the value's not there for a wide receiver or a tackle? Like, what's your guys' thoughts on that potential scenario, really?
I'm getting stressed thinking about it.
My best answer personally is I don't know. I'd have to see the board. Now, the only thing I will say really quickly is I think you have to go best player available if you see a guy like Jeremiah Love fall, or if you see a guy like Caleb Downs fall, or heck, if David Bailey from Texas Tech, like those are game-wrecking, game-changing players. Now, at the same time, if Francis Mauigoa from Miami is available at 6 and you don't take him, I'm going to have a lot of questions. If he does get taken and you don't feel great about the rest of the board, there's still some good offensive linemen that are going to be left here. If not, besides Carnell Tate, you have Jordan Tyson, you have Mekhi Lemon. There are some other good wide receivers to pick. So I have to see how picks 1 through 5 play out.
What do you think about it, Drew?
I mean, I'm right there with Nate. I would have to see how everything just plays out. Like, if you told me you could get an all-season wide receiver, like I mentioned earlier, if you could get like a Brian Thomas or someone that can elevate this wide receiver room, then yeah, I'd be okay with a defensive pick. But you'd have to get someone in the offseason or, trade for somebody. Otherwise, to me, it just doesn't make too much sense unless the board says, hey.
Right. We will know a lot before draft day.
Yeah.
Because Barry will make some moves before draft day. We will have a better idea of where they are headed. I won't know until the draft whether I'm going to have my bag of soggy potato chips next to me when I'm looking at the draft board. That's kind of crazy stuff there. Guys, NFL playoffs this weekend, switching gears a little bit. Bills at Broncos, 49ers at Seahawks, Texans at Patriots, Rams at Bears. Everybody, let's just go around, say who we like and why. Starting with Bills at Broncos. They didn't play each other this season. Last time they played in 2024, the Bills put a beat down on the Broncos, 31-7 in Buffalo. Mike, we'll go to you first. Who do you have in this game? Any thoughts on it?
Problem is, I've been saying for weeks that the Broncos are going to be a first game playoff exit. So,
all right, so you're going Bills.
I can't go back on that. So I'm going to take Josh Allen and the Bills, even though I did predict for them to lose in the previous round in Jacksonville. But because they've got that monkey off their back of not winning a road game, I've got a feeling they're going to take that momentum into Denver and probably get like a one possession win, like 27-24, something like that.
All right, Nate, what do you got? Bills, Broncos.
Coming into the playoffs on the AFC side of the bracket, I mean, okay, I understand why everyone says it about the Broncos. They're the worst number 1 seed in football history. Okay, let's wait and see how the postseason plays out, people. However, what I will say is I get not trusting this Broncos team. There's just something that feels off about Denver. And maybe you can't pinpoint it, but go back and look at the Vikings from last season. Something just feels off. And for as up and down as the Bills season has been, they're the team out of the AFC to do it. They have the most experience, especially at the quarterback position. They got the most experience on the coaching staff, and they've been in these situations, right? They know what this is like. The Broncos haven't, the Patriots haven't, and the Texans have only gotten as far as they've gotten right now. So I'll take the Bills. Close win, though, in Mile High. I do think the Broncos are going to prove the narrative wrong a little bit, but, a loss is going to make people forget how well they played.
All right, Drew, what do you got, dude?
I mean, I'm not going to go any different than anyone else here. I'm going with Buffalo just because, again, it's the experience. It's just the timeness. Like Mike said, they got their road win in the playoffs that everyone says they can't seem to get. So I think the experience is going to get them through.
Right. I'm also going to go with the Bills. And you know what's kind of sad? Well, first of all, they need to win. This is their year. This is the year for the Bills to win. If they do not break through, they might fire Sean McDermott. They might fire McDermott not getting through this year when the Chiefs are down. All the other teams stink. And so I'm going to say I believe the Bills will win, and God help them if they don't. And it's sad because they're of all the seasons for them to finish like not winning the division in the last season of that stadium and all of their fans. Mike, what you got, man?
Would you take him as a Browns head coach if they lose and they fire him?
Yes, I would take Sean McDermott. In a minute, he would be right at the top of my list. Next up, fellas, 49ers at Seahawks. We'll go in the other order. Drew, 49ers at Seahawks, an NFC West clash, split the season series. Seattle won most recently on January 3rd at San Fran, 13-3. Who you got?
I'm going to take the 49ers. I mean, again, just like we talked about the Bills, it's just the experience. they're getting healthier. That defense is getting healthier. And for me, I mean, I don't know what it is. I just don't trust Sam Darnold at all. I can't. I mean, after what he did in Minnesota, I have no faith in him whatsoever to complete this game. So I'm going to take the 49ers, especially with their defense getting healthy and going up against Sam Darnold. I like the Niners a lot.
All right, Nate, what you got?
Well, to piggyback off the Sam Darnold point, I kind of feel like this is his moment. I kind of feel like this is the game where, look, you got some guys that are balling on the outside for you this year, including former Buckeye Jackson Smith and Jigba. That tailback room of Charbonnet and Walker are finally doing what a lot of people have expected them to do for years, and that's be a fearsome duo on the ground. And that Seattle defense might just be the most complete defense in the entire league. The 49ers have been here and done that before. So while personally I don't feel good about it because I actually really like the Seahawks team, I think they're one of, if not the most balanced team in the NFL. I'm going to take the 49ers, but it is not going to shock me at all if the Seahawks pull this thing out.
They will be at home. Mike, who do you got, 49ers, Seahawks?
And the 12th man is real.
So on the first pick, I thought everyone was going to disagree with me. I thought I was going to be the only Bills pick, and I'm going with you guys again. I believe the 49ers will win.
No one is saving the graphic. That scares me.
I don't trust Sam Darnold. That's the first point. And I think coaching could be the difference in this game, believe it or not. And obviously, Kyle Shanahan's way more experienced. He's been to like 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I think game management could be the deciding factor in this one. Like, we've seen a couple games already in this postseason where coaching decisions have kind of cost the team a win. And I kind of feel like in this game, that could be the deciding factor. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. But George Kittle being out is a huge, huge blow for them. So I wonder how their middle of the field game is going to.
All right, Drew, what you got?
Go with that.
I know you said George Kittle's out, but I do remember seeing, and I believe this is going to happen. I think Fred Warner's supposed to play in this game too. I think he is coming back. So I think that's a huge advantage. So yeah, the offense might be a little different with George Kittle. I mean, they still have a healthy McCaffrey. That's going to help a ton no matter what. But I think getting Fred Warner back is such a huge positive for that defense.
Yeah, I think that when we look at this, Seattle and the way Sam Darnold is playing, he needs to be the best version of Trent Dilfer he can be. Don't lose the game. Don't start seeing ghosts, which is what happened last year down the stretch for Minnesota. You can't do that. Let the defense cook. Let the defense do their work. Use JSN, as best as you can. Let the running backs go. But I don't know. I'm going Seattle. I'm going Seattle because they're at home. They're at home, and that is brutal. And I feel like defense is going to be really, really good there. I don't necessarily love it, but I think that's what's going to happen.
That's just the way I feel about this game. I don't love it. Now, quick question to the panel. Do we feel like that the Seahawks need someone to go touch for touch with C-Mac? I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think if you let JSN go touch for touch with Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if it's going to hurt you.
Hey, I ain't getting into that. I don't know about these guys touching each other. I'm not, this is not Penn State. This is not Happy Valley. Joe Pa. No.
This is not Pittsburgh grabbing balls in the playoff game the other day. Whatever they would do.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Nate, we always have something come up when we're on here. We talked about the Michigan playing Mr. Brightside. I always get the best out of here, bud. All right. Let's go. Moving on. Sunday. Now, Texans, who thankfully took down Pukesburg, traveled to New England to take on Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. Mike, we'll start with you. Go around. Texans at Patriots. Who you got?
It's a really tough one because if I'm judging it by offense, I think Patriots. But if the Texans defense plays as well as it did in Pittsburgh, I think the Titans might win. But the problem is, I don't know if that was just because the Pittsburgh offense was so bad that Houston can carry over that performance despite being top 3 defense this year. And at the other side, CJ Stroud fumbled the ball 5 times in that game.
What was he doing?
So I don't know. I kind of want Houston to win because I just think it'd be a decent story, I guess. Plus the Patriots dynasty starting again so early. I don't really want that.
All right.
Don't want the opportunity for them to take over the Chiefs and win like 3 in a row or something if they get 1.
They won't do that. I don't think so. But so
I've got a feeling the Texans are going to win, though. I've got a feeling the Texans defense will actually get a score again.
Okay.
And Drake May didn't play very well against the Chargers, to be fair. In that game, he really, really struggled with their defense, and the Texans' defense is way better. So I think I'm going to edge it with the Texans.
All right, edging. Another.
But it might be low. It might be low scoring again, like the first 3 quarters of Monday. So I'm going to go with the Texans in a low scoring, like
all right,
maybe 13-10 or something.
Okay, a real barn burner. Nate, who you got?
I am going to side with Mike here on the fact that I think it is going to determine whoever wins this game is going to be determined by the fact that this Texans defense played so well. And I think there was the combination of not necessarily that Pittsburgh's offense was atrocious, because it was, but when you get in scramble mode and you have to try to make up as many points as they did, you're going to start taking more and more risk. And unfortunately, in a league as good as the NFL, those risks turn into takeaways. And for as good as athletes that are on defense, those takeaways turn into touchdowns. So that's that take to me. I think the Texans defense has got game wreckers all over the field. And I mean, they've drafted so well. Will Anderson is a beast. Azeez Al-Shaair is a beast. You just got so many guys on that side of the ball that can be absolutely phenomenal, game-wrecking components. I think CJ Stroud and some of his turnover troubles this year can be mitigated by the fact that this is a Patriots defense that at times this season has been like Swiss cheese. Here's what leans me towards one side, though. All 3 losses for New England have come at home. For some reason, they just happen to play better on the road this season. I think CJ Stroud and the Texans are ready. I can kind of feel this sort of mojo with Houston, and sometimes that means something. So I'll go with the Texans.
You got my mojo, baby. All right, Drew, who you got?
I'm glad Nate brought up the 3 losses at home, because if he wasn't going to do it, I was. Because that's what deterred me to the Texans as well as both of those guys. Because I truly believe that, again, like Mike said, the Texans just played astounding defense against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, a lot of that is due in part because, well, Aaron Rodgers
should have retired a year ago. Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers was just playing really, really poorly. But the Texans, I just think their defense is just too good right now. They're playing really good ball. Like Nate said, the Pats at home, for some reason, they're like the Browns. You just can't win at home. So I'm going with the Houston Texans. I think they can pull it off.
All right. Well, Nate, you're back and you switched places with Mike. This is fun. We are having fun.
I don't know what happened.
Don't worry about it.
Hates me.
No, it hates us. We're okay. We're all good. We're in it together, guys. We are in it together and we are surviving. All right. Texans and Patriots. All right. So let me throw a couple things out there to you guys. First of all, you guys all hit on it. You wonder about the Texans defense. Was it really that great? Or was it even better looking because Pittsburgh is atrocious? I'm going to say it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both there. I don't know what was going on with CJ Stroud. That was ridiculous. Like, what was the center doing? Was he trying to lose? Was he talking to somebody about rooster fighting? Because that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. And I'm going to throw something out there to you guys as to why I will root for the Patriots rather than the Texans, okay? You know exactly where I'm going with this. If the Texans win, what is the talk going to be in Cleveland? The Browns
we funded this. We funded their Super Bowl because of all those picks we gave away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have
And the cap relief.
They took out Pittsburgh. Great. Now they need to go. I love Nick Chubb. If they do win, at least Nick Chubb is still surviving, rolling. We love CJ Stroud, but I can't take that talk.
Well,
but no one wants to see in the same division bloody AFC Championship between the Patriots and the Bills either. So I'd rather them take out the Patriots and then lose to the Bills.
All right, that's fair.
If we're going down that route.
Okay. All right, Nate, what you got?
I think if Cleveland is worried about outside narratives, they're a more flawed organization than they perceive to be.
Well, the fans are.
I don't give a damn about the fans. If this
organization
is worried about the outside narrative of funding the Super, I'm sorry. Small going nuclear take. I love the fans. Okay, the fans of Cleveland are amazing. I don't care about the fact that they're going to say they funded the Super Bowl.
I know.
I am not going to partake in that. I'm just saying if Cleveland is worried about that, they are more flawed than we know them to be.
Okay. All right. Last game, Rams at Bears. The Bears, I can barely stand them. And the Rams, well, they're the Rams. Nate, we'll go back to you and we'll go around. What do you got? Rams at Bears.
This Bears team just continues to find ways to do it, don't they? I mean, Caleb Williams has turned into Superman throughout multiple points this season. And I don't think you can even chalk it up to, oh, he's getting lucky. He's doing this. He's doing that. Now, the Bears are a legitimate good team. Like the Bears are back to what they maybe not all in all were, but they've got good defensive pieces. The offense has a lot of good weapons, and Caleb Williams, let's call it for what it is, after a lot of questions last year, has been one of the better quarterbacks this season. I think they're going to run into a Rams team, much like we talked about with the Bills-Broncos thing, that has that experience factor. So for sake of keeping it short, I'll go with the Rams.
All right, Mike, what you got? Don't upset your mate, Dan.
I don't know where to go this one because I want the Bears to do it just for a sneak personal reason because of my mate. But at the same time, before the season, I don't know if you can class the Rams as a dark horse, but they were my dark horse pick before the season started. I guess I've got to go to the Rams. I guess. What I will say is their secondary is not very good. So if they don't figure that side of the ball out, I think Caleb could cause them quite a few issues on that side of the ball.
Absolutely. Drew, who you got?
Well, my Super Bowl picks are still alive because my Super Bowl was the Rams and Bills. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Rams because, I mean, let's take a look. Matt Stafford, this is his best season since he won the Super Bowl. Like, he is absolutely killing it. It seems like no matter how old he's getting, he still slings the rock like it's nothing. So, and as long as Puka Nacua is healthy, it's all good. He's all good. So I have a good feeling about Matt Stafford going and getting his second Super Bowl.
Okay.
Does he have an injury? Or am I making this up?
I think he has a left finger injury or something. I don't think it's on his throwing hand, but I know it's like a finger or something.
Not a finger. Oh, I thought that was when when she knocked the leg lamp over and broke it.
Let's not talk about finger and toes because we'll get into a bad conversation if we do that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Don't worry about it. We promised our French Wemby fan we were going to talk some NBA, and we will, and I will keep that promise. All right, Rams at Bears. I think the Bears. So what really ticks me off is if you guys remembered, I think it was I don't know. I know I'm showing my age here. But in about 2002 or so, 2001, 2002, I think it was the year the Browns finished 7-9. They went to Soldier Field and had a game like wrapped up. They did basically what they did against the Jets, except they lost in overtime instead of regulation or whatever it was. But yet, guys, I think they were using for the Browns, thought the game was over. They're over on the sidelines using the bathroom, out on the field. And that type of luck, I don't like it. I don't like it. So the Bears, I want you to lose. I want you to lose. And Matt Stafford, I like him. I kind of like him. He's been through it. He went through all that stuff in Detroit. He's won one Super Bowl. I don't I don't have a problem with the Rams, of course. I don't know. I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm just going with my heart on this one. And so it ought to be good. Guys, this is going to be fascinating. I want to talk just briefly because I made a promise. I made a promise here, so that we could talk about wait, what you want, Mike?
So have 3 of us just gone for all road wins, or am I just making it up? Because
Oh,
it
no.
feels like
I don't
got
realize what
mainly
I've done. Oh,
Yeah,
we've mainly
done all
got
road
road
wins.
games.
We've done all road wins.
no.
No. I went with the Seahawks.
Yeah, Mike. All right, yeah, Ethan did go to Seahawks.
Ethan's the only one saving the graphic. God rest his soul.
Okay. All right. Good.
The 3 of us have all
The 3
gone
of
for
us
4
messed
road
up,
wins.
man.
All right.
Oh, no, we're so screwed.
Oh, we
no.
are. Good thing we don't bet on roosters. All right, let's get into it a little bit here. The NBA, the Cavs. Let them know they're soft. Let them know that I'm sick of these stupid injuries. Let him know that Darius Garland needs to start going medieval. I'm giving him the helmet like a knight would wear. I'm going to give him some steel-toed boots. I'm tired of this. Why is it every time the Cavs win a game, they ultimately lose the game? They end up with more injuries. They win last night, and they lose. They won, but they lost, guys.
They played well yesterday.
Great. Great. Now we don't have Sam Merrill. Darius Garland, we don't know when he's coming back. We're still without Max Strus. We got no Dean Wade. You got soft as Charmin Jared Allen. You got Evan Mobley, who's Mr. Inconsistent himself. What else do we got? Oh, great. We got Lonzo Ball out there shooting threes.
He actually had his best game last night, Lonzo Ball. We actually came in and knocked down like 2 or 3 threes.
You know why?
First time all year.
You know why? Because they threatened to trade him for a bag of soggy potato chips.
Well, apparently when Hunter got rumored to want to trade, that he put in like his best performance of the year.
He did.
So maybe we need to do that with Jared Allen now. Make up some rumor that he wants to be traded out of Cleveland. Then maybe he actually might put back-to-back good performances together.
Maybe it's possible. Nate, what do you think? I mean,
I don't know if I should talk first. I'll talk forever. Let Drew talk first.
Okay. Drew?
I mean, I was gonna be the same way, but I'll talk first.
Let's have a good old back and forth, chum, shall we?
Absolutely.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Right.
So, listen, the injuries are pissing me off, and that was gonna be my going nuclear is the injuries, but I'm not. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna get into something else for that. But oh my god, dude, does Darius Garland need like new toes or something? Like, do we have to remove his toes from his body so he could stop breaking them or stop injuring them? Like, unless he's got some weird foot fetish going on. Like,
okay.
You brought it up, Ethan.
I've been trumped.
You guys brought it up. I'm just going with the flow here. But it's so frustrating because now Sam Merrill has a hand injury again.
I don't know what he's very busy. He's very busy. Wait, I feel like I'm watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and John Candy is turning to Steve Martin and telling him, "You fiddle with your nuts. I do not play with my balls. You do more ball handling in one night than Larry Bird does in a whole game."
We gotta stop. I'm sorry, I brought this up. We gotta stop.
but seriously, Nate, give me your thoughts, Nate. I mean, we are a team that has been severely disappointing, injuries aside.
Yeah, go for
Let's
it, Nate.
put the sports media degree to work, shall we? What I've always said about this Cavs team is let's be fair to the team for 1 second, okay? Let's put all the emotions aside. You cannot fully judge a team until they are healthy. However, we have to give this caveat. If a team is also always injured, then how do you judge them? That is a fair question to ask. Let's make this something very clear. We have seen the most consistently inconsistent version of a Cavalier team that I have seen in a long time. I was at that game against the Denver Nuggets, and aside from the fact that they couldn't stop Jamal Murray, I thought they played a good game of basketball. I didn't think they played too bad against Detroit, who, I mean, look, we have to start facing the fact Detroit is back, okay? The Bad Boy Pistons Part 2 are here. They are really, really good. Then you have to get a come from behind win against a team in Indiana that has been shockingly bad. More on them later because it'll be comparison time. Then you lose to Minnesota. You don't play that well. Then you come back home and put together one of your best performances of the season and beat Minnesota. And then you lose to the Utah Jazz. And then you go back on the road and beat a Sixers team that's ahead of you in the standings. And we can keep going back and back and back and back. This team, as of right now, has not duplicated a result since they won 3 in a row against the Spurs, Suns, and Nuggets. Since then, it's been win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. They get a chance to beat the 76ers, which, despite not having Darius Garland or Sam Merrill, I do think they have a good chance to do because the Cavs always play the 76ers well. You could say it's a matchup nightmare situation when Cleveland has to go against Philadelphia. But let's bring back up Indiana, shall we? One of my true mini going nuclear take for this episode is I think we need to stop calling Cleveland a true disappointment when you're looking at a team like Indiana, who, look, not having Tyrese Halliburton, that was a known given commodity coming into the season. They knew they weren't going to have that. They had been dreadful. That's a team that made the NBA Finals last year, and they're going to be a certified top 5 draft pick this year. Maybe even a better comparison, the Milwaukee Bucks. Nobody in the NBA has this bad as the Milwaukee Bucks right now. Nobody, not the Cavs, not the Clippers, not the Mavericks, not the Pacers, not the Wizards. Nobody has it worse, in my opinion, than the Milwaukee Bucks because of the position that team is expected to be in. They are quite literally the exact opposite. And much like the Cavs, they see spurts and moments of playing well, but outside of Giannis, they have no consistent threat. So I believe that the fans need to rein it in a little bit because I think the injuries are frustrating. I think this team needs to play better on a night in and night out basis. However, there's exactly a reason why basketball is an 82-game season. You have to go through the ebbs and flows. There are going to be injuries. There are going to be things that you don't like. And when this team puts everything together, which we have seen, believe it or not, contrary to what some fans believe, we have seen them do that. This is a really good basketball team. There are things that I would change. If you can get the right pieces for Jared Allen, I think you need to take them, even though I think you'd be selling pretty low. I think that a change has to be made there. However, the caveat to that is if you do make that change, then you're going to run Evan Mobley at the 5, Thomas Bryant at the I just don't like that idea. So I'd rather have the known commodity in there, but he's just got to play harder. We've got to find ways to get these guys healthy and stay healthy. I actually don't mind the fact that they're being this cautious with Max Strus. I would rather him come back healthy than him being rushed to come back. And then like we've seen with Darius Garland and Sam Merrill, they re-injure themselves. And actually, weirdly enough, I believe it's the opposite foot, opposite hand for both Darius Garland and Sam Merrill, which is a Chase DeLauder situation in basketball form. So, in my degree would tell you professional opinion, even though I'm not going to tell you that. Okay. I believe that this is still a wait and see game. Now, I know that's going to piss some fans off, rightfully so. Wait and see is the 3 most irritating words you can ever tell a sports fan because they just want to know what they got. They want to see it on the field. They want to see it play out. They want to know what to expect. But isn't that the beauty of why we sit here talking about this, right? The beauty of sports is it is an unknown. Who knows what this Cavs team is going to look like once everybody gets back? For all we know, they could be a wagon. And I'm not just talking about the covered wagon with the rickety wheels, which is what they are right now. I'm talking about like a wagon, a whip, a Lambo, a Ferrari that they can put out on the Autobahn.
Can we get Niang back? Can we get the G-Wagon?
Yes. Boom. Without the G-Wagon, obviously, they could be a G-Wagon, a literal motor-built machine. Donovan Mitchell has been insane, and he is a big part for the reason that the Cavs are so successful. Last night was his 22nd 30-point game of the season. If he does not have a starting spot in the All-Star game, I'm sorry, that's a miss. That is a massive miss. He's been fantastic. And if the Cavs were any higher in the standings, he'd be well within the MVP conversation. Not that he's not already, but he'd be well up there. I still think this is the wait and see game with the Cavs because I do want to see what we look like when everybody is healthy. When we have all 5 projected starters, and for this sake, for this argument, Mitchell, Garland, Strus, Mobley, Allen. Guess what the Cavs record is this year? I don't think you need to guess. They're 0-0. Let's wait and see.
Okay, I thought there's always next year was the most hated thing to hear. I love that. Mike, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. What do you, I mean, any thoughts here on this disappointing Cavs stink?
Well, Nate took a lot of things out of my mouth because I had a section of notes for the Cavs section, and he went through the last 10 games, how we're 6-4. Since the 3-game win streak, it's literally loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. But I have noticed that the Cavs had their most amount of assists last night, which was 41.
Right. It was a really good ratio.
So the ball movement was a lot better. The Cavs are 13-1 when they have 32 assists in a game this year. So they need to somehow move the ball more and get more guys involved with ball movement, passing, getting better looks, stuff like that. That sounded really wrong, didn't it? I apologize.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Continue on.
We had 8 guys in that game last night who had at least 3 assists, and we had 6 players who scored at least 10 points. So my point is, the more bodies we get involved, the better the offense seems to be. When it's 1 or 2 guys doing all the loc work, it seems like the Cavs struggle when they're relying just solely on Mitchell and Mobley, for example, or Sam Merrill and Mitchell. That's when they seem to get sussed out, I guess you could call it, or look very sloppy. But when more bodies are involved in the play,
that's the whole point. That's what
Cavs seems to be a lot more efficient.
Yeah, that's what Kenny Atkinson brought to this team last year. It was ethical basketball. They moved the ball around. They had wide open shots. They were shooting a very high percentage. It was fantastic. But it's what the heck is going on? As Kenny talked about the other night, Utah, they were hungry, and they're talking psychological. And I'm I don't know who you need to bring in to talk to these clowns and hypnotize them into realizing that it's the middle of the stinking season, and you need to start getting yourself together and need to go out and need to win. You need to play your best. You need to win. Evan Mobley, hey, dude. Why don't you act like a 7-footer and go out there and dunk on somebody? Quit acting like a big turkey out there standing and watching everybody else get the rebounds. Donovan Mitchell has more rebounds than you. What are you doing?
And defensively, we only held them to 30% from 3 yesterday, which was pretty decent on the defensive end of the floor. So
yeah,
I know they're not exactly the best.
How many open threes do we give up? How many open threes do we give up to guys? They're shooting a great percentage because we don't defend well. And I know we can say, well, they're injured. They don't have the right guys in. Practice! Practice harder! Figure it out! This is your job!
We don't have any practice time. Wasn't there that stat last year where we hadn't practiced for 9 weeks or something without any practice time?
Who's got a basketball court at their house? Let's go! Let's go. I'm sick of this. The good news, guys, here's the good news. All the teams in the East, apart
from the top 2, apart from the top 2, the Knicks and the Pistons, they're getting between the 3rd and the 6th seed. I don't think it really matters as long as you get one of those seedings. If you have to go on the road against one of the other teams, it's probably not going to matter too much.
I mean, I will say this. We don't match up well. Any of the top 4, we do not match up well against them. Right now, Detroit, New York, Boston, Toronto, we have not fared well against any of them. They've got to move up in the standings. And I know I've heard Wendy talk about it on ESPN Cleveland. Basically, you give them a week or 2 of good basketball, and they're going to jump up in the standings. I mean, there's a lot of basketball, Nate, to your point, and to bring it back to reality and not be too ridiculous here. There's a lot of basketball left to be played, but I don't understand the inconsistency, specifically the lack of effort. That is the most infuriating thing. Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
it's just effort and attitude most nights. Like, why can they turn up for national TV games, like, and play well? Like we did Christmas for the large part until we collapsed. Why did we play well last night when there was only ESPN? We've got our next 3 games are all on national TV, so I fully expect us to win at least 3 of this 4-game stretch, just because the lights are bright. I guess you could pull it. So Jarrett Allen probably won't play well, but the rest of the team probably will.
All right. I hear you.
But why is it? Why is it when we play the teams like the Pacers, we scraped out a win, we played bad to the Jazz?
The Hornets,
Like,
we had to scrape out a win.
Why? The Nuggets came into our building last week when Nathan was at the game, and they had, was it 4 starters out?
It was no Jokic. It was no Gordon. Their backup center was gone too.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. Like, exactly. Why can't we do it against the smaller teams? Like, the teams we're meant to be. Is it because we think we've won before we turn up, like Kenny Atkinson alluded to the other day, where we thought we basically won the game against the Jazz because they lost 5 points 2 nights before? Did we go in with the wrong mindset and attitude, thinking we were going to win before we even turned up? Like, what is it? It's a mental thing. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But every time I predict the Cavs to lose, they end up winning. So,
you keep fading them. Keep fading them. Drew, what you got?
Well, my biggest thing is, and I don't know how many years of you guys played sports, but especially when I played college soccer, our coaches hammered into us, like, if you're gonna lose, at least show some goddamn effort. If you lose, like, at least show like you actually care or you're actually like trying. Because I'd rather lose to like the Pacers, knowing like, okay, we put in like a 110% effort in, and they just hit a big shot or something. Like I could be like, okay, at least we tried, or like at least we showed some kind of effort, like we cared about the game of basketball. But the whole win loss is because we'll show effort in one game, then the next game it's like we're the laziest team in NBA history. Like, we just don't care. Like, you could put in a high school team and they put in a better game than the main squad would. Like, I'd rather you go in and just show up and actually, do what you get paid to do. Otherwise, give a random fan $20 million, and I'm sure he'll play a lot better than Jared Allen would. Like, yeah. I like, at least show like you actually care about the game of basketball and like why you got drafted and why you get paid the big bucks. Like, if you can't do that, it's like what me and Mike talk about Tottenham. Just play for the badge. At least show like you care and like you want to be here.
Yep. I agree. Nate?
Why do we scramble around for 3 quarters most games, and then in the 4th quarter, we actually turn up? Because the first 3 quarters, we're just lazy, not playing like we want to be out there. And then the 4th quarter, we scramble around, come back, either throw it away in the last 4 minutes or pull out a win. Like, why can't we play for a full 40+ minutes, 48 minutes ideally, rather than playing for 10 minutes? Like,
yeah, that's
frequently happening in games where it's 10 minutes of greatness and 36 minutes of nearly falling asleep watching the team play. Like,
I think the guys on the bench are asleep, and they're sleepwalking out there. Nate, I want to let you just close it out if you have on the Cavs, and then we're going to finish it out here and do a little going nuclear action. Do you have anything further to kind of close it out on the Cavs?
Sure. I'll battle you on one point in the fact that I'm just going to say I fully disagree with your ball move. I think we're one of the best ball movement teams in the NBA, especially if you watch that game against Philadelphia last night. This is still a team that moves the basketball.
So you're saying we're just shooting poorly?
I think to everybody else's point, it is the effort primarily on the defensive end that is killing this team because defense travels, right? Like, I think that there are a good percentage of coaches across any sport. New Columbus Blue Jackets head coach Rick Bowness would tell you this. A lot of NFL coaches would tell you this. This is just simply not an era of sports, for the most part, where you can score your way to a championship. In some instances, you can. Right, but as Rick Bowness would tell you, this is not the NHL in the 80s. Offense does not win. You defend your way to a championship, and off defense, the offense will come. When the shots are not falling, And when the offense is not there, you have to have a defense to fall back on.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what we see kill the Cavs in some of these games. You know, they scored only 100 points against the Rockets on the road. They gave up 117, but again, the offense wasn't there. The defense also wasn't. They had a pretty decent offensive day in Minnesota, scoring 122. They let up 131. So you have to be able to find that defensive stride. And I also disagree with the point made about the guys on the bench. And I know it was just a joke. I took it literally because it's what I do. The guys on the bench are actually some of the shining factors of this team. Jalen Tyson, who, because Max Strus is out, has been put in the starting role. I don't know how you can throw Max Strus into the starting lineup with how well Jalen Tyson has been playing. That guy is a slam dunk home run higher draft pick. I liked it when we drafted him because I thought he was a good player. He's showing that he is worthy of, if you go through, and I know some people like to do the redrafts, you probably redraft him as a lottery pick because he's been that good. I love Craig Porter Jr. I just think he's got to get the minutes to show you what he can really do. Naquan Tomlin. I know that here, you know, coming in he was a little bit of the iffy part, but now, I mean, bam, he started to explode and play really well. Thomas Bryant shown some good flashes when he does get his minutes. And on the flip side of that, Kenny Atkinson is fed up with Lonzo Ball's crap. They played him yesterday because they had to for personnel reasons. In the last game, he was a healthy scratch. That's the first time that Lonzo's been a healthy scratch in his career. So Kenny is fed up with his stuff. And I think when you get this team playing at its highest clip, you do truly see one of the better teams the NBA has to offer. I will offer this. I think a very key stretch to this team's season is going to be what happens from January 30th to, I'd say, through the All-Star break. Why? Because you have a 5-game road stretch, albeit here are the 5 games. It's your West Coast trip. Phoenix, bad. Portland, okay, I'll get Portland.
They beat us. They kick the crap out of us every time.
The Clippers, bad. Kings, bad. Nuggets, we'll see if they have Jokic back by then, and they probably do. And then you come back and you're home against now Trae Young and the Washington Wizards. Still don't understand that, by the way. It still sounds weird to say.
Hank,
thank
you very much.
That 6-game stretch, you can maybe even include the 7-game stretch there, right from Los Angeles when LeBron comes and plays at home all the way up until the All-Star break. Besides Los Angeles and Denver, maybe Portland, you're playing some bottom feeder teams, some teams that are probably not going to even make the play-in round. So you've got to, well, the Phoenix probably going to do that, but you've got to find ways to pull out some wins. And much like we saw this Cleveland team do at the All-Star break last season, you've got to build that momentum going into the All-Star break. And I think if you can do that, right now they're 4 games above 500. Let's get them, don't clip this, let's get them 6 or 7 games above 500, and I think we'll be sitting really good.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, I know I've already gone nuclear a few times, but we are actually going. It is now time.
If I may, before we do that, do we want to do national championship picks?
Sure, let's do it. Let's do a little college football playoff national championship pick. I like it. I love it.
Well, I'm not picking Miami because I hope they get absolutely destroyed because I'm still salty over the.
No, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. So that is Mike. You are calling. You want Indiana, and do you think Indiana's going to do that, Mike?
Plus, I can't expect Carson Beck to have another 3rd straight brilliant game. If you want to call his last game brilliant, at some point he's got to start turning the ball over. So I feel like this could be the game where, for them, the one game for him to make some mistakes against that very good Indiana defense.
Yeah, he's got to put the.
Yeah, he's got to put that away. Yeah,
got to put that away. And that's not a Signetti.
But I'm very interested to see how many Miami fans are going to turn up for this because obviously it's in Miami, and they haven't exactly travelled well in the playoffs so far.
No, that's fair.
Just wondering if Indiana dominant crowd, if that's going to be a thing, even though it's in the Hurricanes' backyard. I wonder if that's gonna.
Well, the good thing is they've got distribution of tickets. There's a possibility. It depends on how many people want to get rich, selling it on the secondary market. Drew, what do you got? Indiana, Miami, who you got, who you want?
This is tough because I'm at a big crossroads because, mind you, I went to college in Indiana. I went to college in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and all my friends were big IU fans. They're especially too because I was in college in Indiana at the time of the World Series, and they were all Cubs fans too. So I never heard the end of that. I still hear all the time like, "Oh, you guys blew the World Series," And now they're talking to me about, we're in the national championship. I hear it all now, and of course I hate Miami because they beat us, and our history with Miami. So I'm at a massive crossroads. I want both teams to lose, like desperately. Like I want both teams to score negative points. But I have to pick somebody, and I'd rather hear it from Indiana than Miami. I just cannot stand Miami for they're just annoying. It's I cannot stand Miami fans. I'd rather listen to my friends talk for months about Indiana than I would about Miami. So I'm going Indiana.
All right, Nate, what you got, brother?
Well, I have this. I think Indiana is a really, really good football team.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest key, because look, you can talk about some things back and forth and the fact that Miami's got to get home with their pass rush. If that gets neutralized, they're in trouble. They also got to force Indiana into some uncomfortable situations on third down, because once Indiana gets the third and medium, third and short, they are surgical. They were 11-14 against Oregon, and I honestly don't remember where those 3 missed conversions came from. They were that good. They were that surgical, and this defense has been playing well. Miami might have the advantage in the line of scrimmage in this game, and contrary to Mike's point, I actually do think that what you've seen in college football, especially over the past few years, is experienced quarterbacks doing what experienced quarterbacks do. I mean, if you remember in the national championship game last year, Will Howard obviously had a good game. Riley Leonard had a good game too. So it is possible for both quarterbacks to have a good game and other factors sway it. This is the first time that I think Indiana is looking to the opposite sideline and saying, "Ooh, we got to worry about that." And that being Miami's pass rush, because while it did not do much to Ole Miss, that's because Ole Miss gets the ball out quick. Trinidad Chambliss is a monster in being able to escape from the pocket. But so obviously with everything I'm saying, okay, I think Indiana's going to win the football game. My mama always told me to trust my instincts, but they have let me down before. God damn it. I'm not going to let them fail me this time. I think Miami wins the game. I think Miami puts together their best performance of the season. I think Carson Beck has got the tools necessary to do it. He's got Malachi Toney. He's got CJ Daniels. He's got Keelan Marion. I think Mark Fletcher is going to get his. And my feeling is that Miami wins this football game. Would it surprise me if Indiana wins? Hell no. They're the best team in the country. They've shown that all year. But my instincts and my hunch is telling me that Miami's got this one done.
All right.
And I don't feel good about it. And, if my instincts fail me, we're going to have a long talk about this close to the mirror with myself. But I think Miami wins the football game.
All right. Well, we've got some. Thank you, everybody who has been tuning in, commenting. Love this. Yep. Indiana's got it. Thank you for the comments. All right. I'm at a bit of a conflict here, sort of like Drew we're talking about. We obviously all, as Ohio State fans, not happy about Miami.
Yep.
I would rather see Indiana win.
I don't know. The Big Ten.
They represent the Big Ten, and I really dislike the antics of Michael Irvin on the sideline, Ray Lewis, all these people who act as if Miami has been good when they haven't been relevant for 2 decades. Okay? So I'd rather see Indiana win. I don't love it. It is going to be a fight in the trenches. This is going to be hard hat game. You're going to have big on big. We are going to see some physicality. I don't see Indiana getting pushed around the way, well, Ohio State did and others did when Indiana just or Miami imposed their will. Fernando Mendoza, though, Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, they got to him. They did get to him. He did not have an impressive game. The funny thing is, this guy's going to go number 1 overall in the NFL draft. And sometimes it's not all about him. He makes some beautiful back shoulder throws to Surratt and others, but it's not like gaudy numbers and stuff like that. I'm going, Hoosiers. And even though it's very angering for me since Indiana knocked Kent State out of the NCAA tournament in the Elite Eight, and that was very angering a long time ago.
Here's the other thing that I'll say too, and again, this is Miami does not have to play perfect to win this game because they have to do what Ohio State did and just couldn't finish. They cannot let Indiana get in rhythm because as soon as you let that Hoosier team take the momentum, good luck getting it back because you're not.
Fair enough. Wow. Okay. That's it. We have running long here. Let's go. It is time to go nuclear. Nate, what has you going nuclear this week?
I'm going to stick in college football because what do you think I'm going to talk about when I say the name Dante Moore?
They made the right decision because I personally think he did.
I think he did too.
Yeah,
but I agree with Mike and I agree with Ethan. Money. I believe that not only was it a mature decision for him to come back, I mean, that's a massive get for Oregon, obviously, but let's talk about the individual. That is a massive, massive decision for him in his life. People don't know or often forget that do know he's only 20 years old. He's not even a legal adult. He can't walk up to the bar and order a beer yet. So him coming back to Oregon for another year, not only is a massive get for that program, I think it's going to be the right move for him moving forward. No, where I go nuclear is with all of the fans and college football fans. Sometimes I love them to death, but sometimes they can be a special breed of stupid. I do not understand the NFL fans on this point, or even the football fans in general. Well, you made the wrong decision. You're throwing away a guaranteed spot in the NFL. You are just a dumb kid. What do you do? And first of all, Dante Moore is a very rare exception to the rule in that he's got people over his shoulder probably telling him what to do with his NIL. Okay, you're going to put this much into a 401k. You're going to invest this much. You got this less left over. Let's start a charity with that. Like Dante Moore has those people. Not everybody does, but Dante Moore does. I can pretty well convince you if you're not one of those people that's convinced he made the right decision. I think I can do some convincing that he did. But I'll save that for a different time. No, where people start to get infatuated with the fact that he made a wrong decision, it's guaranteed money, it's the NFL, it's a childhood dream, you're throwing it away, watch it, he's going to get hurt, he's going to tank his draft stock. If you make the NFL, it doesn't matter if you get picked in the first round with the number 1 pick like Fernando Mendoza is about to do, or if you get picked in the 7th round like Brock Purdy or Tom Brady, or 6th round, sorry. 7th round for Brock Purdy. Guess what? You're still an NFL quarterback. So that being said, Dante Moore, you can't predict injuries, doesn't get hurt. He's going to be a top pick in the NFL draft next year. Oh, but he threw away a guaranteed starting job. For the Jets, I don't think he's that upset.
I don't think so either. Wow. Mic drop? His device is not connected, but that was a heck of a mic drop. Mike, what has you going nuclear this week?
What has me going nuclear? So, this is unfortunately sport related. Unfortunately, is he coming back? Or is he just completely mic dropped?
Wait a second. I gotta put up guys. I gotta put up a something that just popped up on the comments. Can you guys see the comments here?
No. I can't.
I gotta put this up. This is great. This is classic. This just popped up. Hi there. I'm former First Lady Laura Bush. George is in the hospital and Secret Service left me all down at the ranch. Can you Venmo me $35 so I can get a KFC family feast with a molten lava? I don't know what that is, but that's hilarious. All right, Mike, go ahead. Finish your Going Nuclear segment, sir.
So mine is kind of related to social media. And
all right, go ahead.
Sure.
These so-called TikTok influencers, if you want to put it. So how do I explain this? So do you know Spurs signed Conor Gallagher?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've seen all these terrible takes. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but they basically are saying one thing, saying they didn't want him when he was linked to Villa, and they backtrack basically. So they spend 2 days posting all these posts saying that he's a rubbish signing, blah, 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 blah. And then they backtrack and try to make it out that actually he's a good signing, but the reason that they didn't want him is because they don't trust the ownership to make other good moves. So that's kind of what's got me a bit nuclear at the moment, where people just backtrack on their original thoughts when it comes to like transfers and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is this the calmest Going Nuclear session that Mike has ever had? I never sense any anger.
Well, Mike is never angry. Mike is always solid. I'm the moron. I'm the guy who's going crazy here.
I also have neglected to, maybe this might make some people. When do I tell the Hotspur fans that I root for Arsenal?
All right, get him out. Kick him out of here.
I had no idea. Well, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. That's all right. That's another topic for another
I'm not
day.
that much into it. They're just, if I root for a Premier League team, I root for Arsenal.
I'm sorry. Or as you know, these things happen. Right,
I'm
Mike,
not too sorry right now. They look great.
Yeah, they'll still finish second in the table. Mike,
probably.
I didn't want to cut you off. Did I let you finish your thought, sir?
Yes, you did.
All right, Drew, what has you going nuclear?
Well, I'm going to stick with the Spurs train from Mike because Thomas Frank, I swear to God, get this loser out of my club. Like, this dude is so awful at managing.
Did you see who he appointed today as his assistant? He's gone for a more defensive-minded.
Yes, this is why I'm going on the rant.
When we can't score goals.
This is why I'm doing this, because I saw him do that. I'm like, please get him the hell out of here. I saw this. I sent it to Mike. I don't know if I didn't send it to you, Ethan, but
that's all right.
This guy made a post saying, given the board won't sack Thomas Frank, all we could do is hope that Trump invades Greenland so Frank can get called up for mandatory service by the Danish military. I was like, you know what? If that happens, great. As long as he's out of the club and bring someone else in, whatever happens in the world. This is like, I cannot stand. And this is my problem with the Spurs board, by the way, is that they wonder why we're mid-table. It's because you keep signing mid-table managers to manage this club. You have no ambition. Like, it's like the Dolans with zero ambition to sign a fucking baseball player. Oh, let's go to the $2 DVD bin at Walmart. Here's your starting pitcher. It's the same thing with the Spurs managers. Oh, God, we're going to the $1.99 bin. Here's Thomas Frank.
Oh,
like, yeah, no matter
clearance sale.
Yeah.
Everything must go.
Oh
my gosh.
I guarantee you,
wow.
I guarantee you for some reason they're gonna bring back John Kennedy Noel after he got released by the Orioles. They're like,
oh my God.
Guess who's back?
No, we just signed a minor league bat. No.
Yeah, guess who's back? It's him.
I want that soggy bag of soggy potato chips. Wow. Wow.
That might be the first time I take the potato chips over anyone we've talked about today.
All right. That is fair. That is fair. Okay, Drew, have I let you get it all out? Have you gotten it all out?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. Guys, what has me going nuclear this week, amongst many other things, is something that we hear in sports. Do your job. And when I say do your job, it could be related to anything. It could be on the basketball floor, the baseball diamond, the soccer pitch, the football field, or I don't know, at your actual job. Why is it that I am surrounded in every facet of my life with people who can't do their job? Why? Why do I have insurance companies screwing up? Why do I have people asking me the most ridiculous questions ever, like they haven't worked in the field for, 20 plus years? Why? Why am I facing this? I don't ask much. Do your job.
Yeah, why do you have Laura Bush in her comment section asking for KFC?
I don't know. I want that molten lava cake.
I'll tell you what, that sounds good, right?
I don't know. Guys, that is what has me going nuclear. This has been amazing. I really appreciate everybody who has been with us. Again, thank you. Just want to thank Paulie Campione. We are part of the Collected and Connected, a Good Vibes community. Thank you, Nate Bope, the man, Tailgate Nate 29, for joining us. Mike across the pond in the UK. So glad you're on at Mike_Cavs_UK. A man, Andrew Hagenbaugh, Drew.
Yep, that's just Hagenbaugh Drew.
Hagenbaugh. Okay, I was thinking there were some numbers there.
Nope.
No, guys, thank you all for being with us. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. This has been a great show. Really, I know we went a little bit long, but we got a lot off our chest. We got a lot.
And we haven't even got the baseball season yet, which is gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. That is another thing. All right, guys, thank you very much. So, for Nate Bope, for Mike Pellegrini, for Drew Hagenbaugh, I am Ethan Greenberg, and you have been tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land.